You know, a habit is starting to form when you unconsciously go about your business and then realize, oh, yes, I'm actually getting myself ready to do the thing that I know I need to be doing. And that's exactly what just happened there. I was back from the gym, making my coffee, and without even thinking what I needed to do next, I just knew that I was ready to start the preparation to record today's show. And I love this feeling. It's fantastic. I feel prepared. I feel ready. And I really am finding it to be an energizing part of my day. So how can I take this to the next level? And I'm going to try something just a little bit different today. I have been trying to work through ways where I can work out the things that I'm actually planning to take action on, as well as ways where I can develop a little bit of accountability. And I thought to myself this morning, what better way than to announce these things publicly on this podcast? Hello and welcome back. My name is Paul Heron, and this is the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. This journey is my year-long challenge to myself to create and upload and post a podcast every single day for 12 months in the hope that I will finally uncover some of the tools and strategies required for me to be able to take ownership and control of bringing my ideal customer into my world. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. This may be a one-off, depending on how the week pans out. There may or may not be an update in a week's time on how I went. No, just kidding. I will definitely give an update. And I think that is one of the important things that I want to share and document in this journey. It's not always going to be highlighting things that I know have worked for me in the past. It's very much just about documenting my journey, which, following on from the topic this week, starting conversations, having a think through what am I actually going to do this week that is going to take me a step closer to that ultimate goal of understanding how all this comes together. Now, the three things I'm going to mention here are all things that I have mentioned in previous episodes. They're things that I have become more aware of throughout this whole process, and things that I have already identified that I would like to take action on. But I think what I'm doing today is firming up that commitment and deciding that these things are no longer things that I should be doing, but they are the things that I am going to focus on this week. And the first thing on my list is starting to seriously think about how I can promote myself, this podcast, and my business in general. If you've been following this podcast, and particularly if you are someone out there who does know me really, really well, you know that I have had a resistance to standing out and putting myself out there and showing the world what I'm up to. This podcast in itself is a way that I am tackling this head on. But one of the things that I need to be able to get my head around is taking promotion and reframing the idea of putting myself out to the world from something that I need to be wary of to something fun and exciting and something that I see is a critical part in this journey for me. So what's the action that I'm going to commit myself to? For this week, it is to post into social media every single day. And I don't necessarily mean just posting a link to the podcast in the group. I mean having the courage to think outside the box just a little bit and try some shorts, some reels, just try a couple of different techniques and strategies that can get the ball rolling in terms of promotion and feeling good about putting myself out there. The second action that I'm going to commit myself to taking this week is to revisit my strategy in terms of how I approach Bark.com. If you've been following along, this whole journey initially started with me wanting to move away from purchasing leads through Bark to a place where I have greater responsibility and control over the message that I send out to the world, the offers that I put together, and the attraction of my ideal client into my world. However, in the first couple of weeks of this journey, it did become clear to me that the current system that I have in place, the system that I can trust and rely on to start conversations, is the best place for me to start thinking about how I can improve the efforts that I'm putting in. I spoke about this podcast and a few other pieces of the puzzle that I've started working on recently being quite new. And while these new actions are in their infancy, just getting started is the priority. It's difficult to start testing different ideas. But this client attraction strategy that I have developed through using Bark is something that has been in place for quite some time. And I've got a high level of certainty on how things work and what I can expect in terms of results against the effort that I put in. Now, I had also previously highlighted that I had never applied this continual improvement methodology to this. It was set up years ago and I have just let it run its course. So the action that I have for this week is to revisit every single touch point in that bark process and have a think about how I can start to improve these actions. Now, I don't know exactly how this is going to go. I may just go in and update all the various different components, such as the profile, the welcome emails, the first point of contact. There's a few things I can look at there. But if time permits and I feel creative enough, I would like to pick at least one of those processes that I can set up a little split test. And it may be the first email that goes out once I purchase a lead. Just one simple test where I can have two different versions of that welcome email and just see if there are any noticeable differences in the results. Because ultimately, everything that I have been learning so far is that our unique individual recipe is an unknown. And the only way we can refine and develop that recipe is by testing these elements against each other and seeing what works, seeing what gets the best results, retaining the things that do work, creating new tests to continuously be trying to improve these processes. And I think that would be a fantastic first step. And this flows into the last thing that I want to make a commitment to just start thinking about this week. And that is to think about the things that I want to start measuring. As I've alluded to in previous episodes, the work that I've put into attracting clients into my world has largely been ad hoc. A lot of it has been outsourced. And as I mentioned earlier, even that outsourced bark process, there haven't really been any efforts at all to this point to improve as I go, not at a conscious level anyway. Now, one of the reasons I have so much certainty in this bark process that I've currently got working for me is that there are some basic details that I do keep track of. I keep track of how many leads I purchase. I know how many of them turn into conversations. I know with a high level of certainty how many sales calls will be created from those conversations. And I can actually predict with a high level of accuracy how many sales I will get from those sales calls. So that basic understanding of leads coming in, clients signing up is a huge thing in that level of certainty I feel in that process. And that's partially why I just keep coming back to this. I know how it works and I know what to expect. But what I'm really talking about here is taking this to the next level. If you asked me right now, how many outbound conversations do I try and start on a weekly basis? I can't answer that question. And this is exactly what I'm talking about here. I want to have a think through what types of information is going to be valuable for me to know that is going to help inform me in terms of what's working, what's not working, and where I should be focusing my attention. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to be able to come up with over the next week, but hopefully I'll have a little bit more clarity about at least a first draft of what I intend to collect and how. So there we go. There are 3 commitments that I'm making to myself this week: to post to social media every day, to look at all the different touch points in my existing pay to play process through Bark, and to have a think about what type of information is going to be really valuable for me to know in terms of whether this is all working for me or not. Now, at this stage, my plan is to be back at this time next week, and maybe this will become a regular part of this series. And who knows, maybe this added accountability is exactly what I need to get myself moving. We'll just have to wait and see. So I'll leave it there for now. Let me know what you think. Does this type of show add value? Does it help you to understand and determine what your priorities and actions need to be? If you have any feedback at all, I would love to hear from you. You can contact me through my website. It's www.paulheronlifecoaching.com. There's a ton of information there. There's links to the podcast. You can subscribe. You can join the Facebook group, which is the perfect place to start conversations. You can reach out to me directly. And if you've been able to master some of these elements yourself, I'd particularly love to hear from you. I am actively looking for guests to come onto the show. So please reach out. If you feel like you've got what it takes to add value to this experience, reach out and let me know. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.